where my tooth hurt so bad that I would periodically toss out verbiage that we can't say on radio.
Oh, thank goodness for that. Well, listen, time to go behind some enemy headlines. First of all, let's just get right into it because we're recording this on the day that the president gave his whole gun control spiel across national media. Dan, what has he been doing? First of all, it took so long, this rollout. Was he trying to get everybody on his side, including the mainstream?
Well, I mean, the rollout was intended to get not the media on his side. He knows they're on his side. If you remember, the San Bernardino shooting happened, and the media in America immediately tried to turn the shooting, the terror attack, the Islamic terror attack, into an issue of guns. The very next day, you got the New York Times editorializing on the front page of the New York Times, anti-gun, take away guns. So the problem Obama's got is that fell like a lead balloon, and then immediately Trump started talking about radical Islam, and suddenly all three of the next debates, the undercards of the GOP, the main GOP debate, and the main Democratic debate, were all talking about radical Islam. Trump was more powerful than the media, so he can't have just the New York Times. He needs the media unified. He needs to, he was building this media coalition. He knows he's got the left. They'll follow him anywhere, but he wants to make sure that the media are on his side. So that was what he's teeing up today. Most of what he's doing is going to be stopped. That's not the issue. The issue is how he's trying to play the media. And, of course, he brings in Gabby Giffords, and he says a bunch of things, some of which are factually wrong, and we can get into that, but he deploys the media moment. The media moment. You got to have a media. You can't have media. You can't have the media unified nationwide without a media moment. So he has
manufacturing one versus creating one, two totally different things. There are legitimately natural media moments. Trump, you brought him up, is a master of delivering spontaneous media moments. Isn't that fair to say?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, and Cruz did it, has done it in the debates. Rubio has done it. A masterful politician can do it on the spur of the moment. But this White House doesn't do that. They concoct one. So in this particular case, and yes, people are probably Obama fans are going to get angry with me because I'm going to say this: he faked crying. I think it looked very artificial. I think I've heard people talk about him getting an Oscar nomination, but he cries right in the middle. And if you're watching the speech, it looks like he's building to a crescendo of his speech, and he's getting a little verklempt. And then the tears roll, and I got to force crying at this moment, and then when he cried, I am not exaggerating. The room applauded because, of course, they had their moment. And what do you get? Because I haven't seen the evening news shows yet tonight, but I can tell you already the headline on the Washington Post and New York Times: teary or tearful. Take your pick. But it's in both headlines because we have got a coalition of American media that are going to push an agenda all because of a fake crying episode. John Boehner cried for years about everything, and the media made fun of him for it. So it's not a matter of crying. It's a matter of crying for something the media support. And how do we know they support it? Because we did an analysis a while back during a couple of years ago, during one of the previous pushes for gun control, 18 of the top 20 newspapers editorialized for gun control. 18 of the top 20. Of course they're for it. On Thursday, Obama's having a town hall on CNN to push gun control. CNN's giving him an hour or 2 hours, I can't remember how long it is, and giving him Anderson Cooper, who just besmirched what limited reputation he had on New Year's Eve, hanging out with professional sleazebag, Kathy Griffin, who actually takes off her top live on TV.
Another great moment for CNN.
Yeah, I mean, so literally on New Year's Eve, a week before we're supposed to treat Anderson Cooper as a serious journalist, he's hanging out with Kathy Griffin, the self-proclaimed D-lister, taking off her top. And we're supposed to take these people seriously. It's a clown show.
It's an absolute clown show. You know, as we're discussing this right now, I am currently on newsbusters.org, and I'm reading a great story by Kyle Drennan running down the media reaction to the president's address, and how Lester Holt and Chris Jansing of NBC were talking about just what you were saying about how emotional the president got, and they were falling over themselves for this deeply emotional appeal. And, you know, going through the article, George Stephanopoulos of ABC talking about gun violence statistics right before the president takes the stage. So, oh my goodness, you couldn't make it up.
Two key things about George Stephanopoulos. One, he used to work for the Clinton White House and apparently has never stopped working for Democrats. I mean, really, just has never stopped. And the other, you know, the media love promoting this whole issue that gun violence is out of control, when in fact gun violence, you know, if you wanted to make the case years ago, gun violence, New York had a recent high in homicides. I don't remember what the number is this year, 300 and some. But back, I think like in the 70s, it had like 1,000. I mean, gun violence has massively declined nationwide. And Obama is up there talking about gun violence, and he lists suicide as one of the reasons. Now, I've known people have killed themselves. Okay, it's an awful thing, and I'm not, please understand that. But people who want to kill themselves will kill themselves. Japan has almost no guns at all, and it's ahead per capita of how many people on the list of how many people kill each other each year. They're not killing each other with guns; they're just killing themselves. That's suicide. They're better at suicide even though they have no guns. People who want to kill themselves will kill themselves. We've got a couple states now that it's legal to commit suicide. So maybe the gun number will decline if we just make it legal and let 100,000 people kill themselves. Then of the remaining, because it's about 30,000, so the remaining about 10, a lot of those are criminals killing criminals. Criminals kill criminals. That sounds criminal. You know, if you kill
that's
somebody,
not much of a stretch there.
Yeah, you're not really obeying the law. How is another law going to affect things? How are 2 laws or 3 laws or executive orders or whatever they are, how are they going to stop that killer from killing somebody else? And so Obama puts out this stupid standard liberal talking point. Oh, if we could just save one. Well, here's the deal. Okay, if we could just save one person's life, will you give up the right to free speech? I mean, that's the argument. That's exactly the argument. If we save the right to free, if we save one child, then government should be able to come into your home and take anything we think is dangerous. You've got knives. The terrorists in Israel are using knives to attack Israelis. Okay, so we're taking all your knives. And also, since Britain cut down on guns, knife crime is way up. So we're taking away your knives. You can't have knives. Okay, we're taking away anything poison that you've got in your house. We're taking away the foods that make you unhealthy because, Lord knows, you're making yourself fat. So we're taking that away. We're taking away your car because lots of people die in cars. And we're just going to go on the line. And you're not going to have anything left. It's a stupid, it's utterly moronic logic to say, if we could just save one life. Because, you can take away everything in people's lives and save a life to the point where we're all sitting in a cave eating kale and, somebody's control. It's 2 p.m. You now must eat 3 more leaves of kale.
You're eating that kale with your fingers because the forks were taken away as well.
Right, because they're dangerous. And
there
maybe
you
they
go.
give us a spork. Maybe we get a little plastic spork.
Too pointy.
I mean, but the media won't call him on it. They won't point out that he factually said, that you can buy guns over the internet. It's illegal. So much of what you can do with guns right now is illegal already, but they want to make more laws. More laws don't make us safe, because the only people who are violating them are criminals. You know,
that's why this is a go-to soundbite, because it's a feel-good moment. Just like another go-to soundbite, Dan, is that people who want to protect their rights are wingnuts. And of course, you know, I know we can talk about gun control all day long, but tying into that is the appearance of a gun in the hand of Eamon Bundy in Burns, Oregon, and how automatically run with that. Go ahead.
Think about where you just said this is, because you know it's in a part of America that 99.9% of Americans don't even know exists. Burns, Oregon. I mean, no one's ever heard of it before. The number of places you've heard about in Oregon does not include Burns, Oregon. So unless you've been there, unless you're an outdoors person, you've never heard of it. And so they take it over a facility that is in the remotest part of Oregon, putting no one under threat. No one's been harmed. Nothing has been damaged. Yet the media and the left desperately want to call them terrorists, because they have this thing pushed by the SPLC that, scary white men with guns, they're terrorists. You want to know who's scary? How about Occupy Wall Street? And many of them were white, so we can be nice and neutral about this in a racial way. Many of them were white. Occupy Wall Street marched around this country, occupying territory. 7,700 of them were arrested for everything from attacking police and arson to vandalism to plotting a bomb of I think a bridge in Ohio, riot in Oakland, all sorts of problems. 7,700 of them. Ferguson protests, burned down a city, attacked police. The Freddie Gray protests in Baltimore, 400 businesses damaged. CVS and a brand new senior center is going up were torched in the process. 130 policemen injured in those attacks. More policemen injured in the Freddie Gray protest than any singular event since 9/11 in America. And yet, the media don't want to call them terrorists. They don't want to call people who shut down airports and shut down roads terrorists. They simply want to call people who have done nothing. And when you really analyze what's going on in Oregon, and I'm not condoning the seizure territory, et cetera, but when you analyze it, the Bureau of Land Management is out of control. Even the Washington Post kind of admits that the Bureau of Land Management is out of control. It's an agency that just simply shouldn't exist. Living on the East Coast, it's really hard to understand why Westerners get upset about government control of land until you look at a map and you realize that government controls 50 or sometimes I think almost 60 or more % of some of these states. I live in Maryland. That means, we'd lose quite literally 13 counties if we operate. But I think it's like 2% of Maryland is government
it's
control.
Staggering. It's staggering. But
Imagine,
you know what the media
you
does,
live in
though,
Nevada,
pal?
it's 54%.
Yeah, and what are they using it for? They're using it for solar energy plants that aren't going to work. And, and of course they don't care about the endangered wildlife that ranchers have to be aware of. They can just kill them at will. But you know what, pal? You got CNN, people like Brooke Baldwin, putting people on air, talking about what if Oregon occupiers were black or Muslim. And again, guys, go to Newsbusters. Check out the article by Matthew Ballin. CNN boosts guest racial double standard, quote-unquote, claim about anti-federal protests. And he goes on and on about if Black Lives Matter protesters were to take over a federal building, they would wind up dead or in prison for life on terrorism charges. Come on!
Well,
racial double standards are the worst.
Well, it's provably false because, again, when the Freddie Gray protesters went berserk in Baltimore, and again, if you want to talk about the flashpoint, what happened to Freddie Gray was wrong. But does that give people an excuse to riot and injure 130 police? No. What happened in Baltimore? Police were told to stand down, even though a part of the city was burning. told to stand down. Nobody was. I mean, I don't even know if anybody ended up being really significantly prosecuted for what they did in the Freddie Gray riots. But so armed people burning things.